shouldn't still love you, won't tell you that. But if I didn't say it, then I'd still have felt it. Where's the sense in that?
What's up, guys? Good to be back. Glad to see you guys. I know you haven't seen my face in a while. That, first of all, that was White Flag by Ryan Korn. Covered it. Really cool cover. Actually really hard to find, believe it or not. But like I said, hey, it's good to be back. I haven't been in front of you guys in a while. Jurdo and I, old legs, we've been focusing on the pod. That's been going really well. We really enjoy doing that, and we're just constantly kind of changing with that. And I just realized I haven't done a face-to-face video in a while, and I just kind of felt like doing it today. So up on the, I don't know, platter, you could say. Sure, why not? Let's go with platter. Is a couple movies that I've seen recently. I mean, I don't really have anything to talk about today. I just wanted to make a video. So I'm just going to talk about the last couple movies I saw, and we can just kind of go from there. So, yeah, believe it or not, they're both kind of, let's just go with heist movies. They're both kind of heist movies. The first one, the big one, Logan Lucky, I think a lot of people have probably seen that or heard about it. That is Steven Soderbergh's newest film, starring, who is it, Channing Tatum, what's his name, Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, then Daniel Craig, who else? Anybody else that we know? Those are the main ones. Yeah, so that was kind of about these two brothers that decided to do this, to rob this big race in West Virginia. Pretty good. And then the next one I want to talk about is Good Time. So let's just start with Logan Lucky. So Logan Lucky was one that had gotten some reasonable amount of hype. I think the marketing was very good for it. I think that one kind of got around. A lot of people were hearing about it, and that was kind of one where you saw the trailers and you're like, I don't really know what this is going to be. But it looked fun, looked interesting, and so I think a lot of people ended up seeing it. Steven Soderbergh, really good director. He was kind of one of the ones that started as a small-time kind of indie guy and was able to successfully kind of move on to bigger studio hits. He's most known for the Oceans trilogy, Oceans 11, 12, 13. Two of those being really good. And then he's done films since, like Magic Mike, I think he directed, and the second one he was the DP on. And so this one kind of was, he kind of retired, I think, is what I heard. He had sort of retired from directing because he said he was sick of a couple things. And kind of what I had heard was that he was sick of studios kind of making all the decisions based on like release dates and times and how many theaters and all that. So with this one, this was one of the first big studio releases that he actually funded it through his own company so that he could release it on his own terms to the amount of theaters that he wanted to do and all that. So that's kind of interesting in its own right. The movie itself, first of all, I was excited to see it. I saw like the teaser, and I was like, I like Adam Driver. Daniel Craig looks like he's doing something different. Channing Tatum has proven that he can just be funny consistently, and Steven Soderbergh's a good director. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see that. I didn't have huge, high expectations for it, but overall, good movie. Fun. It was very well directed, I'll say that. Like, it's kind of nice to watch a movie and be like, this director knows how to direct a film. You kind of like, this is not necessarily with everything, but just when you watch this movie, you're like, okay, yeah, Steven Soderbergh definitely did this. He knows how to direct. As far as other things, like, if you kind of had the itch to see a heist movie, I think this will probably scratch that itch for you. It was good. It was a fun heist. And I actually, so overall, glad I saw it. It was fun. I had a good time, and it was a good movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. The thing is that I didn't love about it was I couldn't quite put my finger on it because I was like, I like all these elements, but I don't know why it's not quite clicking with me. And then after I saw it, I watched Chris Stuckman's review of it, and he's obviously my favorite YouTube reviewer of movies on, you guessed it, YouTube, like I just said. But he had said that he kind of said that they don't really you're not really emotionally invested in the heist itself, which is true. When he said that, I was like, that's what it is, because the heist is good and it's exciting and it's fun to watch, and things go wrong and you're like, oh, that's really cool, and you see it go down. But as far as why they do it, it just kind of started like literally. With some other heist movies, the thing about the heist is that you really care about it, and when it's happening, you want them to succeed, you want them to get through it, and I did for these guys, but the motivations were a little unclear as well. And there's kind of a twist ending, which worked, but the heist itself was like, it was good, it was a good heist, but it was literally like just pretty much out of the blue. It was like, all right, we're just going to do this, and you were like, okay. I mean, as an audience member, I was like, all right, let's get to the heist, but then at the end, you're kind of like, okay, I probably would have liked it more and would have wanted to watch it again if I cared more about the heist, when that's like the whole crux of the movie. But it sounds like I'm downing on it. It's really good. Like, I might be selling it short a little bit, but if you just want a heist movie, go into it. The thing was that I cared more about, like, Channing Tatum's the main character. I cared way more about his family stuff than about the heist. Like, I was way more emotionally invested in his daughter and his ex-wife and all those subplots. I cared more about that, which most of the time I don't give a shit. Like, most of the time that's actually just filler for what you're watching. You're kind of like, oh, this is the part where he talks to his daughter and tells her that he loves her and blah blah blah, but it really worked in this movie. It worked really well. Other standouts, Adam Driver's great. Channing Tatum's okay. He's funny, and you're like, I buy him, but Adam Driver just became another. I fucking loved Adam Driver. He was great in that. He was really, really good. It was fun to see him play that. And it was fun to see Daniel Craig just having a great time. Like, Daniel Craig, you could tell was just, his mouth was watering for this role. He was great, and you don't really get to see him do those kind of roles very often, so it was awesome to see that too. So I don't know, I'm looking over there for some reason. I'll look over here too. I don't really do grades that often, but it's easier for me to give grades based out of tens. So if I had to grade this out of 10, I would probably give it, I would give it like a 7, maybe like 6.7, but definitely more than 6.5. I would say probably 7, sure, because it's a well-made movie, it's well-directed, the heist is fun, and I could see people really liking this movie, but the thing, it just didn't quite grab me. Oh, and the ending, there's kind of a twist ending, sort of, not really. It's kind of a twist, whatever. I mean, I definitely didn't see it coming, but it I don't know if you could really consider it a twist, but that was fine. But then, like, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's a character who comes in at the very end that I hated, and luckily it was for the last 5 minutes of the movie, probably, but every second that character was on screen, I was like, oh, come on, like, it just felt unnecessary. Like, I get it, but it was everything they said. I was like, oh my god. Like, it wasn't that it was annoying. Their voice was annoying to me, but it was just, it didn't feel that needed, and kind of tacked on. But overall, really fun movie. I think you should definitely check it out. So now, this other movie I'm really excited to talk about was Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson, Twilight guy. And this one, this was actually a really fun movie for me to see because this is something I wanted to talk about. So before I get into this movie, I went to see it because I just wanted to see a movie. I was kind of in that mood. I hadn't seen a movie in the theater in a while, and I'm kind of a little bit, I can get a little stingy with what movies I go see because the thing is that, as you guys know, movies are kind of expensive, and if you don't want to just waste your money on a bad movie, you know? So if a movie's getting really shitty reviews, then I probably won't go see it, you know, unless, you know, whatever. But so that's kind of, I don't know. It was, so a lot of times if I'm like, oh, I might go see that movie, you know, I'm kind of 50-50, and I look at the reviews, and the reviews are awful, then I'm not going to go see that, you know. But, so what I'm trying to say is I don't normally go into movies blind. Now, I went into Good Time completely blind. Like I said, I wanted to see a movie. I looked through what was playing. I saw Good Time. I hadn't heard one thing about it. I hadn't seen a trailer. I didn't know who starred in it. And that was kind of exciting for me. So I was like, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go. So I planned to go. And then I wish I wouldn't have done this, but just going into it, I was completely blind. Like I said, in the parking lot, I clicked on it, and I saw that it got like 8 out of 10 on IMDb, and I closed out right away. I was like, all right, awesome, it's gonna be good. Like, I was hoping it was gonna be good anyway, but I was kind of blind, and I just saw 8 out of 10. I was like, perfect, I'm gonna go see it. So I went, and yeah, and that's only happened a couple times. So with the other time something similar happened was when Cabin in the Woods came out. That's a famous, now I think kind of cult hit of horror comedy, and when that came out, it was 2012, I think. It was randomly, it was a Sunday night, I had school the next day, and for some reason I was bored, I just wanted to go to a movie, and I lived kind of far from a theater at the time. So I called up a friend of mine that I don't always hang out with him. He's kind of a busy guy, and at the time, I'm going to comb my hair back real quick. Oh, that's nice. I wasn't really fully expecting him to come, but I was like, hey, I want to go to a movie. Do you want to go? And he was like, all right, let's go. So, cool. So I was like, how about the Cabin in the Woods? I saw it. I knew nothing about it. I had seen some trailers, but the trailers made it look like just a normal horror movie, and I saw that it didn't even look that good, honestly. But then I think I clicked on it, and it said 8 out of 10 on IMDb, and I was like, oh, it must just be a really good horror movie. All right, let's go. So I went and picked him up, and we went, and then there's that opening scene where there's two guys talking, and you're like, okay, this is kind of funny, and then Cabin in the Woods, and then it kind of went in. So with that beginning twist that happens in Cabin in the Woods, I was completely blind, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who hasn't seen it. You've probably heard about it if somebody told you to watch it, but like the fact even that it's a horror comedy, I didn't even realize, you know. So the comedy, that was like one of my favorite theater experiences, just going in there and being like, oh my god, this movie's awesome, with knowing absolutely nothing going into it. And that doesn't happen that often, especially when you're a movie fan like me, and I'm sure people watching this, you know, you hear about movies for months, sometimes years before they come out. You know who's starring, who's directing, you know what the main thing is. You've seen 3 or 4 trailers already that show you big scenes, and you've kind of already made up your mind if you want to see it or not, right? Most of the time. And when you're paying attention to movies, you get all that information. And I've tried to, in the last year or so, I've tried to stay farther back from it, just because when you get into that just consumption of, I just wanted to consume as much movie news as I could, you know, reviews, what people thought, you know, just like I just was a fan. I was like, I need to know everything, and you're just consuming. Well, then it kind of happened where I was sort of like then the people who were, God, stupid hair, man. The people that were reporting on the news, they see the movies earlier. They get press releases, so they go see it. So they've already been telling you all your thoughts, and you want to be a movie person, so you listen to them, and I think they're always right, or that you should agree with them. And so I went, and then they would see the movie early, a couple weeks early, and then they would say, "Oh, it's so good, you're not gonna believe it," or "Yeah, it's okay," or "This is terrible, I can't believe it." So then when you finally got to see it, you were like, "All right, now it's gonna be good," or "All right, now it's gonna be bad," And it was just kind of I was having trouble having my own feelings about a movie, because I'd go into the movie knowing what people said about it, and then I would watch it, and then I would basically take on what they thought it was, and it was hard to think for yourself when you're automatically just thinking about what they're all saying, So that's kind of a big rant, but it's true. And so this last year, I've been staying away from that more. I've been trying to have more of a natural movie experience. I still watch some trailers. You should watch trailers when you want to see a good movie, right? Or when you want to know if you want to see a movie. And I don't hear all the news all the time, which I am completely fine with, because I feel over this last year, and I don't watch reviews until after I've seen a movie, unless I'm really on the fence about it. And then that might determine it. But it's really helped me map my own movie taste and kind of become your own person. And some people, maybe they like all that. I was in that point where I wanted to eat, take all that in, but now I'm kind of not, for sure. Definitely not in that way. So what was I getting at? Oh, so with Good Time, I knew nothing about it, didn't know the directors, and it was a smaller movie, and it just came to town. So all right, I'm gonna go see it. Went, and it blew me away. This is probably, I don't want to give anything away, but this is probably my favorite movie of the year so far. And I went into it completely blind. I had no idea. I did not expect it to be my favorite movie of the year. Yeah, so I went into it, and it was just, I had a good time with Good Time. Yeah, it was, you ready for this hair flip? Didn't really work. Okay. It was really good. The opening scene was a therapy kind of session with this guy, and it was I was just into it 1,000% right away. It was a great opening scene. The heist in this movie was just tense. It was kind of bank robbery stuff. Everything was so tense and so well directed. There were a lot of close-ups of people's faces. But you just felt like you were on the run, and that it was just tense the whole time. That's the best word I can use to describe it. It was just, there was so much tension, and you didn't really know what was happening next. You were just right in the moment. And the main character is a piece of shit. He is a scumbag. So basically the plot of the movie is that there's these two brothers, Robert Pattinson, the main character, and then his brother, is has some kind of mental disability, is mentally challenged somehow. I don't really know exactly how, they don't really say, but they rob this bank, and you don't really know why right away. They just do it, and then as they are running away, trying to get away from the cops, Robert Pattinson's brother gets captured by the cops, and then now Robert Pattinson is the rest of the movie is trying to do everything he can to get his brother out of prison, basically. And it's a lot of on the run from the cops, and it's a lot of just really realistic. And there are parts in this movie where I literally could not believe they were doing this in a movie. One part in particular where I'm not going to spoil what happened, but I literally was like, what? And I sat back in my seat. My mouth was, oh, I was like, what the hell? I've never seen that in a movie. And that's kind of stuff where it's like, that took balls. This movie had big cojones, man. I mean, it was great. And it didn't really escalate to anything. It was just those dudes, like, pretty much one night, I would say. And then the ending was really good, too. It was just like, and it wasn't that satisfying, but that's, I could see this ending polarizing people. I think the way it ends, I think a lot of people probably won't like it. It worked well for me. I thought that was the exact right ending. That was the way it had to end. And I don't know, man. It was just great. I love just going into it completely blind, not seeing one trailer, not one press photo. It was just like, boom, you're in it. And I'd had a good time, as I said. I wish I could do that more often, honestly. Like, I mean, I just knew that I just heard the title and was like, I don't even know what, I didn't even see a poster. I literally just saw the words and was like, I'm going to go see that. I think we might enjoy movies more often that way, because I feel like a lot of the time you go to a movie and you already have all this baggage and these expectations put on it, and it's hard for movies to live up to all that, all the time. So I really, really enjoy it. Yeah, like I said, like with all these superhero movies that come out and I go see them, obviously we have high expectations put on them, and they're based off characters that we already knew, and then they're all connected to the same thing that we already know, and we kind of know where it might be going, and we hear about these movies 2-3 years in advance, so we're kind of waiting for all this stuff to come out, and it's just a lot. So it's really refreshing to see it, just go to a movie that I knew nothing about it, and just went to it. The scary part about doing that is if I would have just said, I'm going to go to this movie, and went into it and it was terrible, it's a risky run. But I had some feeling in my gut that I was like, it's going to be good. I'm going to have a good time with it. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to, I would definitely encourage you to go see it. I would go see both these. Logan Lucky's good. But Good Time is really, really good. And maybe I'm overselling it now. Like, maybe I just liked it so much because I had no expectations going into it. That could very well be. But as far as movies coming out this fall, we just did, obviously, L Squared. We did our fall movie preview already, so we kind of went through some movies that are going to be coming out. Ones that we wanted to see. There's a couple big ones in there. Obviously, Star Wars in December I'm excited for, and I can't help that. But I'm really trying to temper my expectations. Like, that's the thing, like, with, especially that one. That's one where that's Star, I mean, look at right there. I mean, Star Wars, man. I mean, who doesn't love Star Wars? And I talked about, I don't know if I went over that on my channel or not. I should. You know what? I'm going to. Not right now. But previously I did a Star Wars movie talk, part 1 and 2, with my very good friend Tyler Backus. He's also on YouTube, Burdette Dog, Burdette Dog, on YouTube. He does video game commentary. He's really good. He's really funny. Anyway, he and I did a Star Wars movie talk, and we kind of chronicled our fandom of Star Wars. And that's one of my favorite videos that I've done. It was so much fun, and we did that in preparation for episode 7. But I don't think I've ever talked about The Force Awakens in lieu of it, especially not after some time has passed. You know what? I think I'm gonna do that now that I'm talking to you guys. What I'd like to do is have Tyler on here and then talk about episode 7 and what we kind of want out of episode 8. For me, and Rogue One. Rogue One. For me, I want a good movie. I mean, it's hard not to get super hyped when Rian Johnson. I'm not gonna get into it all. I just about started to get into it all, but I'm not gonna do it. Not on this episode. But yeah, so in conclusion, maybe I should do that. Would that be a fun thing? Would you guys watch that if I just went to a movie blind, like once every 2 months, maybe once a month? It'd be hard because I usually hear about a lot of movies, but if I just picked one at random, went into it blind, or if you guys wanted to suggest a movie for me to watch that I haven't seen, I just go into it blind and watch it. Maybe. That would be fun. I'm going to try and do it more often. I would love to do that once a year, and even if it's bad, just be like, well, it was shitty, whatever. Yeah, maybe I will do that. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at, it's Luke Larson on Twitter, LukeLarson89, at Luke Larson 89 on Twitter. There's some good tweets. I try to tweet well. Otherwise, keep listening to our podcast. We try and do at least one a month. L Squared. You can find us on SoundCloud, on Facebook and Twitter, all at L Squared or L2 Podcast if you can't. Otherwise, I tweet them out for my personal Twitter as well, so you can find them there. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. I put all the episodes of L Squared on there. And then me and Old Legs' blog is world89.net, I believe. Where's the dot? Org. I should probably check that. I'm pretty sure it's .net. I'm pretty sure it's world89.net. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But check that out. I'll tweet out a link. I'll make sure and tweet out a link from my Twitter so you can find it for sure. Otherwise, yeah, if you have any suggestions of videos you want me to do or what you want me to talk about, I would love to do those. Like I said, we try and keep up on the pod, so a lot of the main movie stuff we'll do on there. Otherwise, if you have any suggestions for one-off videos or anything, just let me know. Man, I would love to maybe I'll do like a Halloween-themed video this year. That'd be fun. I have to plan that here pretty soon. But, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.